Hey guys, Shalana here. Welcome to the Binge Zone. On today's video, we're going to talk about the season finale of the Apple Original Series C. And there's a few things I want to dive into because this entire season has been a roller coaster and this ending was woo. But a few things I want to get off my chest first. Jorah Morel, what a piece of shit. Baba Voss is the man and my favorite character is Kofun because despite having the ability to see, he's the most humble of the sighted individuals we've seen in this season. So let's just jump into this finale and give it a breakdown of the entirety of the season. So finally, after the first episode, we see Jorah Morel and we're finally at his kingdom of the sighted. But a few things are amiss when we get there because we see that they have water, they have light, electricity, but then they're sleeping in separate rooms and separate beds. And Kofun and Hanwha aren't used to that because they come from a tribe with Baba Voss, their mother, Magra, and the rest of them where they're so close and they sleep together. Like we can already see that Jorah Morel is not attached to his children. We already saw that when he abandoned them, right? But it really comes to light in this episode. And then we learn more about Jorah Morel. Jorah Morel has a god complex. Like he feels that though it's immaculate conception of vision, right? And he's the chosen one to lead the world to a better place. But it's not the world of the blind, it's the world of the sighted. And because he's the only sighted person he's ever met, which I believe he's lying, but that's a video topic for another time, he feels that he has to go forth and multiply and his children will become his disciples and they will spread and Jorah Morel will go down in history. So his God complex is through the roof. And we learned that he's just a piece of shit of a character because he goes on to villages, he claps cheeks, he impregnates mothers, and he keeps it moving, leaving somebody else to do the hard work of raising the kids. And because they're sighted and they're different, they're going to seek him out because they want to know more. When in reality, he just doesn't want the burden of raising kids and he just wants somebody else to do the work and the kids to come and praise him because all they've ever heard of their entire life, and we the audience, all we've ever heard of is Jorah Morel this, Jorah Morel that, Jorah Morel this. So the legend of him is far exceeding the man, but he thinks he fits that legend. So we're in this compound with him, which is more like a jail cell than the actual building blocks of the future. And we see that he has a bunch of kids and they kind of worship him, but Kofun doesn't bite. Kofun is suspicious of all of this because Jorah Morel, something's just off. But of course, Hanwha, who's been wanting this forever, is eating at the palm of his hands. And you can see that she's always had a mini god complex. Because I don't know if you guys remember in the second episode where she pulled out the arrow and told Kofun, I could kill any one of these guys here and they would never know, right? So the power of vision is kind of tripping her as well. So she's more Jorah Morel and Kofun's more Baba Voss in that aspect. But then the biggest revelation that Jorah Morel is a piece of shit is the fact that he sold off Hanwha for protection to another army, right? And then and then when Kofun objects, they knock Kofun out and he sends two people to assassinate Kofun with a gun. So he sold out his daughter and he's gonna kill his son all because Kofun doesn't really believe that in his mission and that he's a god, and Kofun doesn't buy into his bullshit. So in the moment of truth happens and Kofun's about to die, both the executioners are killed, right? And who saves the day? Baba Voss. Him and Kofun go in there, they clean house, and Baba Voss has an interesting interaction and fight with Jorah Morel. And you see these two father figures of these characters with two fundamentally different worldviews, and one is blind and one can't see, and a clash for superiority happens. But before we dive too deep into the significance of that clash, let's go to Queen Kane and her subplot, because at this point, Queen Kane and Tamakti June are at an impasse. And while Tamakti June offers her to abdicate the throne to Magra, she kills Tamakti June. She stabs him. Her and Magra lie to the army because if the army knew that she killed the Witchfinder, they would revolt. They would kill both Magra and Queen Kane. So therefore, we now have Queen Kane leading a new army into a new world along with Magra, and they dissolved the very notion of the witch. Now they're going to go find Jorah Morel's city of sight. And now Queen Kane wants Kofun as a husband to proctor kids. So I'm sitting here thinking, what's up with these shows and incest? I know it's a historical thing or whatever, but I'm kind of getting tired of like queens, kings, and all these people in these incestuous plots in these major TV shows, because it's like, bitch, like, get one of his other kids, you feel me? But that's neither here nor there. What's really interesting though is before the season ends, they kind of focus on Tamakti June's body as they're burning down this farmhouse, and that leads me to believe that Tamakti June is not dead. He's alive. And it makes sense because after he got stabbed by the queen, If I was him, I would just sit there and shut the fuck up too before she pulls the knife out and keeps chucking away. So now Tamaki June's alive. So I want to see the conflict, and I want to see not just the conflict with Queen Kane, but also what Tamaki June does the following season, because we know he's a badass. He's forgotten more ways to kill than Boots will ever know how to kill. So I can't wait to see him traversing the world blind and alone to get his revenge on Queen Kane. And we get to see the epic badass journey of Tamaki June next season. And then I want to see what happens when Boots inevitably meets up with Baba Voss and the crew, because Boots sold them out. So it's a lot of conflicts building. Then we get to Baba Voss and Jorla Morel. And this is a confrontation where we get to the point where Baba Voss is clearly the superior fighter and he's clearly the superior father. And I like that fact that that was shown. They get into a clash. Baba Voss wins once Kofun turns the lights off. And then Baba Voss strips Jorla Morel of everything. And what I mean by that, he doesn't kill him. Jorla Morel's whole claim to fame is the fact that he can see, and he's sighted in a world of unsighted. So Baba Voss tells him, look at me, and takes his eyes out, rendering him blind and making it a handicap for Jorla Morel. Because remember, it's not a handicap for everybody else. Paris can sense things. Baba Voss has beaten two-sighted fighters, Boots and Jorla Morel, and everyone else who is blind, like Tamaki June, like these people have extra sensory abilities. We see Bo Lion and the way she moves as a shadow, but with Jorla Morel, who spent his whole life gifted with the sight, and now he doesn't have it, it's going to be a crutch. It's going to hold him back, and he won't be able to adapt like the rest of them. But what's interesting is not only did Jorla Morel sell the daughter of Baba Voss to an army, he sold it to Ito Voss, which is Baba Voss's brother. And at the end, we see where Ito is reigning from a city with skyscrapers, like a downtown metropolitan area. Well, and that goes to show that Baba Voss gave this all away to live with a bunch of country bumpkins. Even though he's chief of these country bumpkins, he gave all that away, and now he must go back, and now he must become the Baba Voss that he didn't want to be in order to get his daughter back. So the lesson of this entire season is essentially that it's not always honeys and rainbows at the end of the journey, because at the end of their journey, Hanwha's journey, she's the one who wanted this, and she got sold by the man that she devoted her life to. And she got sold into slavery by the man who she dedicated her life to, Jorla Morel. And then in Tamaki June's case, he finally got to the end of his journey to find out his queen is a crazy bitch who kills him. So all in all, the road less traveled is oftentimes the better road. This is the overarching theme of the story. And the fact that just because you have a gift doesn't make you superior or a god to anybody else. Because Jorla Morel is not superior to Baba Voss in any way. Character-wise, as a person, Baba Voss is superior. As a fighter, Baba Voss is superior. As a parent, Baba Voss is superior. As everything else, he's superior to Jorla Morel, who thinks himself a god with his god complex, but he's really just a man who is lucky to have sight, and nothing else is spectacular about him at all. Anyway, guys, that's my thoughts on the season finale of C and the overarching themes of this season. I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below. And if you liked the video, definitely give a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. And until next time, binge on.